Good afternoon, everyone. We are here with our first Q&A. I think we have some reports, so we'll go forward with them.
Avasara Bante, we got 11 reports today and we got few from totally beginners from beginners. Report number 1, sitting meditation. Breathe in, breathing out. Concentration on breath and rising of chest. I could concentrate on about 5 breaths. As I get distracted, if I somehow continue, I end up getting sleepy. Walking meditation. Walking with breathing. I could walk for 25 to 30 steps without getting distracted. I prefer walking cause distractions were less when my eyes were open and I was aware of the surrounding. I guess when I close my eyes, I get distracted a lot with my thoughts. It is easy to get back into walking when I get distracted cause I am in the middle of the activity. Thero Saranai.
Yes, so that experience is natural to beginners. You would think that walking would be even more difficult when you have your eyes open. But the beginners, they prefer walking. They prefer that walking, since there is this activity, it's easier to be mindful. And when you sit, when you close your eyes, thoughts, they become more powerful. They take control. So that's natural. This is natural to a beginner. What we encourage is repetitive practice. That is important. Now you see, for maybe like 5 breath cycles, you can keep your attention, that's all. But that's okay. That's a good starting point. Do this practice repetitively. Sit and try to stay with the breathing. Thoughts come, take you away, realize it and return your attention back to the breathing. This way, when you practice repetitively, you can develop this activity or you can develop this ability. The walking 20 to 25 steps, you can be mindful. So that's a good sign. Do the walking, do the sitting. Give equal weight to both the practices. Walking and sitting, we give equal weight. And with repetitive practice, you become better at it. Right? So this is a good starting point. Practice, and maybe tomorrow we can discuss again.
Report number 2, sitting meditation. I was focusing on breathing in through nose and out through mouth. I felt of peace. I could concentrate, but I felt at peace when I could concentrate, but couldn't focus for more than 5 to 6 breaths. Main distraction was my thoughts spiraling up. I also found it hard to focus with physical pains. Distractions from outside almost did not matter for me. Thero Saranai. Walking meditation. I was focusing on how each of my feet felt as I took steps. It was easier than sitting meditation for me as physical discomfort was lower. However, I couldn't stop my mind from wandering. I could only keep my mind focused for a couple of minutes only.
Yes, another beginner's experience. Now, let's say maybe there are like few people here that you get introduced to mindfulness only today. Yes, this is your first try. This is the beginning. And when you introduce mindfulness, what is the very first experience? Yes, when you introduce mindfulness to your mind, when you get introduced to the practice, then only you realize how unmindful you are. Yes, so that feels like something bad. That feels like it shouldn't work that way. But you have to understand, when you know mindfulness, the very first experience would be you encounter unmindfulness. You come to realize how unmindful you are. You come to realize how many thoughts are at work in your mind. Most people, they get frustrated. They say, I can't meditate. They say, I am not ready. They say, probably I don't have enough merit. All those complaints come because they encounter unmindfulness. But as teachers, when we guide other people, we have to tell them, this encounter with unmindfulness, it is a good thing. Maybe for many decades you have been here, you don't know the practice. And when you start your practice only, you get to realize how unmindful your mind is. That experience is a good thing. For the beginners, we have to tell them time after time, you have to go through this initial difficulty. You have to go through this initial friction. If you want to develop this practice, that's the way. Let's take a worldly example. You drive a vehicle for the first time. Or at least you try to learn how to drive. How difficult that activity would be. Changing gears, balancing the clutch. So difficult. Yes? But if you want to develop that ability, if you want to develop that skill, you have to go through that initial friction. Then only you can develop that skill. And after few months, few years of practice, you realize even without thinking, gears are changing. You don't have to think about it. You know what to do, your body do it. Right? Same goes for the practice. When you start, you feel so much friction. Your first encounter would be unmindfulness, but that's a good thing. We tell them that it's okay to feel unmindfulness. Don't focus on that part much. Don't focus on how many thoughts are there in your mind. Don't focus how distracted your mind is. That's not the way. Instead, at least for 5-6 steps, you were able to be mindful. Yes, like positively we look at the practice. We develop this positive attitude. Probably like 80% of the time I am unmindfulness, but at least for 20% of the time I could be mindful. For like 5-6 breath cycles I could be mindful. For a couple of minutes I could be mindful of my steps. So develop that positive approach and only focus on the part that you are successful. Don't start worrying about the part that you are not successful. Don't start worrying about how many thoughts you have. Don't start worrying about mind getting distracted time after time. What you have to do is, among all these distractions, repetitively you can realize it and you can return your attention back to the breathing or the primary object. And when you do that, you have to understand the practice develops through this